Alright guys, welcome to the beginning of the ball python breeding season for 2018-2019. And in this video, I want to start the very beginning and go through the ball python breeding season, kind of my technique from beginning to end. And I'll break it up between multiple videos. And in this video, basically what I want to do is I'm just going to look at the weight of the females and see if they're ready. And what I do is I look at each and every female at the start of the breeding season. And last year I think I kind of got a little bit greedy, and I tried to breed some ball pythons that were less than 1,500 grams. And I think it was a mistake on a lot of them. So this year I'm going to go through every single female, kind of look at the body condition. I'm going to weigh each and every one and make sure they're at least 1,500 grams. So I'm going to go through and mark all of them as breeders or non-breeders. I'd say probably half my ball pythons probably won't breed this year. And some of them laid late in the season, and they're definitely not ready. I think some of them only ate one or two rats, so those definitely won't be ready. Then I had some from last year and the year before that I picked up. Some of those are going to be right on the edge as far as weight, so it'll be really interesting to see. And then I want to go through my holdbacks from this year and just kind of show you kind of the upcoming stuff. It's about 3 years down the road before they'll be ready to breed, but I just want to kind of show you what I have and get a weight on each one and record it. So what I do is I make a list in Excel, and I'll print it out, and and believe it or not, I have 36 female ball python breeders. And once they all reach the size, and I get an average of 7 eggs per clutch, I'll have about 250 ball python hatchlings. And that'll keep me busy, let me tell you. So they're definitely not all going to lay this year. So let's go through one by one. And I have this scale set up, and we can get their weight in grams. And I really like this I-5500. It's a fantastic scale, and it's really fast, really accurate, and really stable. So that's what we're going to do. Is I'm just going to go through and start pulling tubs, and we'll get a weight. I'll record the weights, and then I'll put right next to the weight either yes, we're going to breed, or no, we're not going to breed. And then maybe in an upcoming video, we'll look at the males and what we're going to pair up. So for my very first ball python female that I want to show you, it's one of the holdbacks from this year, and this came from my jungle woma spider. It could have jungle woma in it. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it does, but it's a scaleless head female, and I want to get a weight on her, and she's coming in at 169.7 grams. She's a spry little thing too. So here's another one of my holdbacks. Obviously these guys won't breed this year. This is a pastel pinstriped scaleless head female, and let's see what she's coming in at. She is 149.5 grams. This is basically a duplicate from the previous snake. It's a pastel pinstripe scaleless head female, number 2. She's coming in at 173.5 grams. So you guys know I'm big into the scaleless head project. This is a pastel scaleless head female. She is coming in at 156.0 grams. So this is what I'm calling kind of my dinker project. She came out of my Coral Glow 50% het pied, and she's she's taking off. Whoa! There she goes across the table. Wow, she's got some really cool patterns on the sides of her. And you kind of see in her belly, she is really running, but it almost looks like she might be het pied from those tracks. Although the het pied tracks, to me, I've seen are a little more intense than that. And I'm not exactly sure if this is just a het pied or if it could be a new gene or something else in there. But I'm just kind of playing around with this as a dinker project. And let's see what she's coming in at. 178.6 grams. This is one of my most beautiful holdbacks from this year. This is a pastel calico bamboo female. She's going to make a wonderful breeder. And let's see what she's coming in as. 188.9 grams. So here's another stunner from this year. It's my albino pied female, and she kind of hatched out late in the year, so I'm guessing she's pretty light. She is 95.7 grams. So I decided to hold back one of my bamboo lesser females as a breeder, future breeder, and let's see what she's coming in as. She is 153.2 grams. So now I want to get into some of my bigger females. Take a look at this beast. This is my pastel spider desert ghost female. And believe it or not, she's only 2 years old. Coming in at 1,640 grams. She is going to definitely be a breeder this year. So this is my lesser clown female, and believe it or not, she is only 1 year old. She's pretty big for only a year, but I don't think she's big enough to breed. She is 1,186.3. So here's my pinstripe pied female. She's 2 years old, but she's been a pretty stubborn eater this last year. She's coming in at 1310.1, still not big enough to breed. So here's my bumblebee, possible het pied, possible yellow belly female. And she might come in over 1,500. She's at 1,501. I actually tried to breed her last year and she didn't go, and it just basically put her off of food. and she just took her first rat after like 8 months on a fast. So I'm going to give her the year off this year. Here's my one and only straight clown female, and I picked her up last year as a hatchling from one of the pet stores in town. Oh, 1 year old, and she's at 1,385.9. That's pretty impressive. almost big enough to breed after 1 year. That's something. But I'm definitely not going to breed her this year. Here's my all-white, lesser pied female I purchased last year. I bought her as a hatchling. She's coming in at 1408.8. Still not quite big enough to breed. She's only a year old, too. This is pretty amazing. So here's my spider-pied white wedding female. And she's been a pretty picky eater. She's actually 2 years old. Only 1,031.8 grams. Okay, so here's my albino female. She is 8 years old. And she's coming in at 2,073.2. Something like that. And I'm kind of on the fence with her because she laid basically the very end, the last of the season, and she's only eaten just a couple rats. You can tell she's kind of just in her body condition. So even though she has the weight, she just started eating again, and I think I'm going to give her the year off because I definitely want her to put on some weight before she breeds again, so she's going to get this year off. So here's a big normal female. She laid a bunch of eggs last year, and she's been eating really well. She's at 2179, and I'm definitely going to pair her up. So here's a big lesser female. I actually paired her up last year, and I witnessed the copulation, but she didn't go. She didn't lay eggs, and she's eating really well right now, and she has some really good body condition. So I'm definitely going to pair her up. Let's get a weight on her real quick if she'll stay in this little tub. She is at 22.5. Here's a big pastel female that laid eggs last year. And these pastels, they always eat really well. So she's definitely going to go. So she's coming in at 2577 grams. So I have a couple pied females. This is the bigger one, and she's been a really picky eater. And I paired her up last year and she didn't go. She might go this year, but she really needs to start eating a little bit better. She's at 2,125 grams. Here's a big normal female. She started eating really good as soon as she laid eggs. She laid eggs back in April, and she's got some really good body weight. She's really nice and plump. She's coming in at 2,232 grams. So this is my albino 100% het pied female, and this is the girl I got that albino pied female hatchling from. And she just laid and just came back on food. I don't think I'm going to breed her. She's coming in at 1,724 grams. She does look like she's got some pretty good body weight still, but she hasn't been on food that long, hasn't had that many rats in her, and I don't think I'm going to push it. I'm going to give her the year off. Here's another pied female. I actually paired her up last year at about 1,200 grams. Kind of a mistake, because all it did was get her off of feed. She didn't lay, and she hasn't eaten in a long time. She just started taking a few mice, adult mice. She's pretty much a mouser, which makes it even harder to get weight on her. She's coming in at 1,174 grams, even lost weight since the beginning of last year. I'm definitely not going to pair her up. So this is a normal. It's one of my very first snakes I got off of Craigslist as a hatchling, and she has grown really well. I paired her up last year, and she didn't go, which was really surprising. She's coming in at 2,116 grams. I'm definitely going to pair her up this year. Here's a big, huge lemon blast. She laid eggs the 15th of March last year, and she has really been pounding the rats. She's been doing really well. I'm definitely going to pair her up. She's coming in at 2,792 grams. Here's a big pastel female. She laid eggs last year. She's been eating really well. Definitely going to pair her up this year. She's coming in at 1,934 grams. Here's another big lemon blast female. She laid eggs last year. She's really been pounding the rats, doing really well. See what she's coming in at. 2,286 grams. Take a look at this beast of a snake. This is my het caramel female. I paired her up last year. She didn't go. She'll probably lay 15 eggs, a big old girl like this. She's coming in at 4,049 grams. Here's my big pinstripe female. She laid eggs the middle of May. She's been eating really well, so she should go this year. She's a little bit smaller than most, but we'll see what she weighs here. Well, I guess she's she's just longer, I guess. She's 2,275 grams. So here's another lesser female. She laid eggs, but I'm not sure if I'm going to pair her up. She hasn't really been eating that well since she laid eggs. So let's get a weight on her here. She's at 2,336. I'm kind of on the fence about pairing her off. I may actually give her the year off this year. So here's another big het caramel female, and she is really in blue. If you look at her eyes, they don't get bluer than that. She laid eggs, and she was eating. She's just pounding the rats like crazy. She is at 3,338 grams. So here's another big lemon blast. I paired her up last year. She didn't go, but she's kind of a finicky eater. I don't think I'm going to pair her up. She's at 2,240 grams, and she's still pretty thin, I would say. She's I don't know, I think I kind of pushed her last year because I think she's almost about the same weight last year, and she just went on a fast. She really needs to get back on feed and have a year of just eating before I pair her up again. So here's another big lemon blast female, and I think this one has some kind of a giant gene in her because her head's really big and the babies came out really big, and she's been really pounding the rat. She's a little bit skittish, I'd say. Probably one of my more wildest ball pythons, but I definitely like to pair her up again this year. I think she's in good condition. She's coming in at 3,418 grams. So this is my Jungle Woma spider female, and she kind of had some complications last year. Was egg bound a little bit, and we lost probably half the clutch. And she's a mouser, so she's a little more complicated. She's coming at 2,190 grams. And I think I'm going to give her the year off. She just does not have the body weight. So here's my very last snake. This is my pastel calico female. This is where all my calico stuff came from. And she's coming in at 2375. But you can tell her body condition. See how long and skinny she is? She just has not started eating since she laid eggs. So I think I'm going to give this one the year off too. Okay, so I just did a quick count, and I only have 12 females that I'm going to pair up this year. So it's not going to be as good of a year as it could be, really. So I have a lot of stuff. You see a lot of stuff that's really up and coming. And I'd say probably 2 to 3 years I'll be hitting on all cylinders. And right now I'm just kind of starting out. I think this is my 4th or 5th year in ball pythons, and it's definitely a slow start. And you kind of start with some lower end stuff, then hold back the higher end stuff, and just progress as you keep breeding. Your collection keeps getting better and better all the time. You see, I have a lot of stuff up and coming that's really nice. And a lot of my pieds aren't going, and a lot of the things I wish were going aren't going. So I think it'll still be a pretty good year. I'm actually thinking about maybe investing in kind of a higher end multi-gene male to pair with some of these. Something a little bit different to kind of mix things up this year. I'm not quite sure exactly what that's going to be. So this is basically the very beginning, the introduction into breeding ball pythons. The first thing you have to do is figure out if your females are going to be ready, and kind of make a list and pretty much start from there. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.